Welcome back to the podcast. I'm here with Tom Toole. This is just the most amazing podcast I think I'm ever going to do. I could do another 1,000, and this will be the best one.
You better search for better guests, man. That's I think you need to really reevaluate how you're grading these things if I'm going to be the most exciting one.
So give everybody a little that doesn't know you, the little details about your background, how you got into real estate, where you're from, all that stuff.
Sure. So my father has sold real estate since 1978. I got licensed when I was
Tom Toole Senior?
Junior, actually.
Junior. So what does that make you?
I'm the third.
Double junior?
No, it's the third.
3. Oh, like RG3.
Yes.
TT3.
TT3. My son is actually TT4, but we call him Leo.
Ooh, T4.
Mix it up.
He can go T4.
Yes.
I
So
like
we kept it going. I got licensed when I was 19. Sold a couple homes.
That's Toole with an E, if you're wondering.
Yes. Used to be O'Toole. Lost the O at some point, I'm sure. So got licensed when I was 19. Sold a couple houses on summer vacation from college. And I said, wow, this is way better than accounting and finance. And the checks are bigger. And I'm not going to be doing journal entries the rest of my life. So got into real estate. Fast forward 17 years later. This year our team's going to sell over 300 properties. We've got a 10-person team. Per agent productivity is about 25, 26 units, which is something I'm very proud of. And Byron and I got connected through coaching, but also with this 5 a.m. call that we're doing. I'm sure you guys heard about that. It's Byron's baby that he's had.
It's not my baby.
Besides his baby girl at home, the other baby. So,
that's everybody's baby.
Yeah, there you go. We're big on prospecting. I think that would probably be the biggest way to describe our team.
You have a major SEAL team. That 10 people, 300 units. That's the advanced level SEAL team.
You know, I feel like we're really only scratching the surface. Besides 2 agents on our team, everyone else is 2 years or less in the business.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the secret sauce?
Well, first of all, there is no secret. The stuff you hear, like
it's
make
all
your
just
calls every day, just make your calls every day. I think the thing is, good salespeople are not created; they are found. So if you find the right person, they can be really successful at real estate. Our best agents on our team were a former title rep, one owned a dry cleaner, and the third was a bartender, and the fourth was a regional manager at Sears. So they have all come in, and they have 20 plus settled and pending so far this year each.
You mentioned you went to college.
Yes.
And you graduated?
I did graduate.
The Syracuse?
Yes.
Syracuse? Do you ever bring that up on a list? Hey, I'm a Syracuse, unless they're like a Syracuse alum, does that ever help you in the business of real estate?
There's a couple people that have said that's why I called you, but I would say 98.7% of the people I run into don't give a shit.
They don't ever ask you?
I didn't need to go there. I think for me it was more about life experience. I went to an all-boys prep school with 34 guys.
Oh, you need to get around some girls when you went to college. That's what it was.
I ran track. Like, that was all good. We had to compete with the girls' school locally. But for me it was more about life experience than getting an education, because the best experience I had was going and selling real estate and being mentored by other agents in the business. And I have a great mentor who's still at my firm, John Collins. He taught me a lot in a year I worked with him. It was almost like a stewardship, or like being an apprentice, right? I learned a ton from that. Coaching, those are the things that really taught me a lot about real estate, but it also gave me some perspective on how fortunate we are to be in this business. And a lot of people don't appreciate that.
You said agents, really good agents, can be found. Like Gary Vee, we went down to Agent 2021. He says a lot of times, he's like, you're either a natural entrepreneur or a natural salesperson, or you're not. Like, you're like almost born with it, right? And I think his analogy of like I could practice all day basketball and I'm not going to be LeBron James. Like, yes. I think it works in sports, but do you think it also applies to the business of real estate or business in general?
100%, absolutely. There are going to be skills that you are better at. Yes.
So you think the dry cleaner and the bartender and these types of people that are on your team naturally had it inside of them, they just weren't doing the right job?
Well, look at what they were doing. Yeah, so bartenders are really good at talking you up to sell you drinks.
Absolutely.
And give you a good tip.
Well, unless you're just a straight up alcoholic, like, me and my friend Nicole, then you don't have to talk us into a drink.
Well, I don't know that you have to talk.
We're not alcoholics,
you don't got to twist my arm
either,
just joking.
But
that's something that we found her, and immediately I could tell it was someone that was going to be successful. And I think that had a lot to do with my experience. The dry cleaner on our team, we recruited him from another team, but he was in the customer relationship business. Like, people go to their dry cleaner because they do a good job with their clothes, but You can get that in a lot of places. There's dry cleaners all over the place, but he had an entrepreneurial spirit to go out and open that and run that himself. With sales, I mean, there's people that I've thought would be good because of what their resume said, and they had sales experience.
Yeah, we just had one.
And they sucked, and they can't relate to people.
Yeah.
They're good at selling what they're selling, not necessarily real estate. So there's a personality for it, no question.
What lens? So bartenders, what's the ideal personality besides like being able to connect with people? Like people always say like, oh, nurses, like that type of thing. Like people that really care, people that have empathy.
So my wife was a nurse. So yeah, I mean, she naturally gravitated towards that. To me,
is she in the business with you?
So she is now our hiring manager and helps us recruit because she cares about the culture more than probably anybody besides me.
That's what you were talking about last night at dinner, like having your wife call and say, hey, this is Tom's wife, as opposed to I'm the Tom Toole recruiter.
Yeah.
And you think that has a bigger impact?
With the way our culture is, we did this like word cloud thing at our retreat this year. The number one thing that came up was friends and family for everyone on the team. That's how they described us. So for us, yeah, that's important, no question.
Because you think right off the bat, if she's calling a recruit, an agent, that they're gonna get a sense of the culture right off the bat.
Yes, and if people aren't buying into your culture, it's gonna ruin the culture. So you have to like find someone that's gonna want to be part of something bigger than just making money. Because you can make money a lot of places, but you can have a shitty quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that for anybody because then you don't want to go to work every day and you're talking about things and focused on the negative stuff in your life instead of being positive. So to answer your question, I've actually got a really good answer for this. So there's 3 things I am clear on that will make a successful real estate agent. Coming from the attitude of gratitude versus having a scarcity mindset. So you think like abundance versus scarcity. Being grateful, being positive versus having entitlement, where they think they're owed a certain amount of sales because they're showing up every day, rather than I'm really grateful we helped 20, 30 people this year. That would be number 2. And number 3 is a fierce personal responsibility of looking yourself in the mirror and knowing that it's your fault all the time, no matter what. Even when it isn't, maybe you should have done something differently to make it not your fault.
Because we're going through it right now, we're trying to recruit like crazy. What's been the hard? I mean, you've been recruiting for a while, trying to attract the right agent, not just any agent.
Yes.
What have you found? Is it, and sometimes I fall into this trap where I'm like, there's just not enough of the right fit in my marketplace because there's not a lot of, not a lot of agencies, there's not a lot of people, right? What's been the hardest factor for recruiting for you?
So I used to think that I had to be this like super professional person as a realtor, and the real person I am that and other people know, that didn't really come through a lot at work. And that was the story I had in my head. It's what I thought I had to do. And the more I showed people who I was and was, come work for me. Yes, I'm this professional person. That's the client-facing side, which is having sales skills. That's not a bad thing. But not acting like that all the time, then we started to attract the right people a lot easier. I had this like bullshit story in my head. I had to be this super professional. I was in my 20s selling real estate. So, I mean, you've seen the way I dress. I wear like a suit everywhere.
Yeah.
Tie to every appointment, which we still do. I mean, that works. But you got to chill out on that a little bit too when you're dealing with people. Because you see these people, like I see my family and I see the people on our team more than anybody. Like it's not even close.
You're a big believer in the suit.
I'm a big believer in showing up and suiting up for work, whatever that means. So maybe that's different in New York City or Connecticut or sure as hell in California.
New York City is definitely suiting it up, right? Yeah.
Well, Josh Rubin wears like the blazer and some jeans, and he looks good. And
I was saying to Nicole, I got to start doing the sports jacket or the blazer. I got to step my game up.
I think I look like a total beat-off in that, so I usually just either go.
What do you mean? What is that?
This is pants I'm wearing. No, jeans and the blazer.
Jeans and the blazer.
I can't do it. I just look like an idiot.
Okay. What about me? You think I should do it?
You're much cooler than I am, so it's not very hard.
I got to go to the sports jacket or the blazer. I got to get my professional game up. Stop making bad jokes. But even though we are drinking wine, we're definitely not. I do want to make that clear. We're not alcoholics. All right. So what are you gonna? How many agents do you ideally want to recruit? Because 10 agents right now, 300 plus deals this year. That's a lot of people. We heard the number today that only 43,000 agents in the country are doing 25 plus deals. You have 10 of them, right? So with your model, theoretically, you go to 20 and get to 600 deals. Like, how big do you want the Tom Toole Group to go?
So we have a very clear vision, and that's important when you're trying to grow, because if you don't and you're just trying to get big, it's not going to work. Like there's a method behind everything we're doing. So where we're located, we have right now our physical office in Chester County, Westchester, Pennsylvania. We go all the way into the city, so Main Line, Delaware County, those areas. Our vision is to get this existing team to 500 transactions and then duplicate it and become a regional company in the Philadelphia area. So, and we want to have 3 locations. That's the plan. And then we kind of reevaluate from there. But that's a goal we set, God, it was 2 years ago.
Do you think you can get to 500 with the 10 agents you have right now?
We're a little short.
Because you just think people are going to get burnt out?
It's not that. I mean, it's that, so our agents are, if our per agent productivity is 25, 26, that's almost 9 times the national average. Pretty good.
Yep.
I'm also clear that there's some people that they only want to do 30 deals a year, which is a lot.
Yeah.
There's some people that want to do 100 deals a year. Awesome. So if we're getting the right person, they're not all going to have the same sort of goals, and they're not going to have the same financial needs that maybe others have. So knowing what our per agent productivity is, we're basing that now. Maybe I'd love to be short on that number, but right now I'm clear we need another 4 agents to hit 500.
Another 4.
I mean, we know our numbers, right? I think hopefully you guys can get that by this
point. I'm super curious because again, we're going through some recruiting stuff. Like, to find the right one, like the right number 11, how many agents are you going to have to talk to, and how much time are you going to have to spend with each one of those recruits to find that 11th agent?
So one, hire in packs, because not everyone's going to make it, and there's nothing worse than spending a lot of time on somebody. And
okay, so you think when you hire, like, bring in 5 to get the 2 or 3?
We've hired pairs, and that's worked really well.
Okay.
So in the past 12 months, because we've figured this out over the past 12 months, we've hired, let me go through the numbers here. So we brought on 2 in November of 2016 that stuck, and they both did well last year. And then we brought another 2 on in the summertime. They both stuck. They're doing well. We brought another 2 on in the fall. 1 stuck. And most recently brought another 2. So we're at 7 out of 8.
Okay, that's really good.
But it's also the interview process is a lot different. I mean, it's like I ask questions in the interview like, what was your financial environment like growing up? Because that's going to cut out a lot of the BS. Or, I try to get to know them. Yoselin Hollow, I hope I might be butchering her name. She wrote a book called "Put the U in Recruiting." I saw her speak in the fall of 2016.
Yeah, I read the book.
Yeah, it's super.
She's
simple
down in
book.
Florida.
Yeah, she's down in Florida.
Yeah, it's like a pamphlet. It's a great book.
But it's like a how-to, and so I called her out of desperation because I was horrible at trying to recruit, and we spent a half hour on the phone, and she said, "Here, take everyone out to coffee." And if you're really considering hiring them. So that's part of our hiring process, because then it's you're not in my office or in the bullpen with our like scoreboard up and a poster behind me that says stop focusing on dumb shit. Like, that's an intimidating environment to come into. So let's go meet somewhere on neutral territory. And this is what the prospect's thinking too. I mean, you have to disarm them a little bit, let their guard down so you can see what they're really like. And I'm not talking about anything about business. It's you're married? Tell me about that. Like, how'd you meet your husband or your wife? What are your kids like? What do you do for fun? Here's what I do. Like, I'm very open and transparent and authentic. And that Tom Bilyeu said those are the kingmakers these days, back in January, if you recall that, from the elite event. So when we do that, then we find out if I like them, because if you hire someone you don't like, it's never going to work no matter what. Period.
End of story.
Do you want to show up with people you don't like
No,
every day,
never.
5 days a week, working
Never.
your fucking balls off? I hope I can say that here.
Of course you can. This is a true East Coast podcast.
That's been a big part of this for me, and our best hires have been the ones I've really gotten to know beforehand.
All right, cool.
Because then I'm like, yeah, this is going to work.
All right, so now that I just cannibalized the entire first part of the podcast so that I can get the information for us and our team, let's switch gears a little bit. What do you believe is the biggest disruption in our industry today? We're in 2018. Like, what's the biggest disruptor? Is it these companies like Opendoor and Traylor and all this stuff? Is it something the agents aren't doing? Like, what's the biggest disruptor to the real estate agent today?
What I would say about those companies is we've been through this before. Remember, like, Assist to Sell, and I don't even know the like all those like website companies, limited service. We've seen this all, and then they all flamed out when the market took a crap in 2008. When I went through that, so that was not easy. And so I don't know their disruption. I think you're always going to see that, especially when the market's hot, because people are always trying to save money. That may not be your ideal client. To me, the biggest disruptor is the inventory levels that we are seeing right now, because it is challenging a lot of agents to work like really hard, but not necessarily working more intelligently and more efficiently and more effectively, and they end up in a position where they're chasing business instead of doing the daily activities to generate business like a company should. So I mean, people try to adapt to the market, and I know that there's stuff that's tried and true that works all the time. There's a reason it works all the time. Good or bad market.
So
I don't know if that was the answer you're looking for.
No,
that's
those are great answers. I mean, Gary Keller basically thinks they're all going to flame out. If you saw the Inman SF.
Gary Keller is losing his shit right now, and Keller Williams was that company.
Right.
So I don't know that
they were 100%.
Not that I'm a hater, but I mean,
no, neither am I. I'm actually a huge fan of KW.
I mean, look at what they built. But I mean, when you go on stage and start yelling like "you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong" at people,
right?
That tells me that they may not have been set up for the long run.
Okay, so if you honestly believe a lot of these disruptor companies could potentially flame out, like an assist to sell,
there'll be a couple that'll stick.
There'll be a couple that'll stick. Are there features within it? Like I personally think the Opendoor feature of being able to access houses without buyer agents.
That's the biggest pain point right now for a lot of buyers is they're stuck with these buyer agents that don't pick up their goddamn phone and are not available, and they get so busy, the service drops. So that's why I'm a big believer in the team, because hey, we got 10 people that can help you, even though you're working with one agent.
What's your listing ratio to buy side ratio? Are you more inventory based?
So we carry
collecting inventory.
We carry between 20 to 35 listings on average this year. Year to
so
date,
you're doing a lot of buyers then. Well, if you're doing 300 deals.
Well, year to date we've got a little over 200 settled and pending.
Okay.
And 95 of those are listings. So it's relatively close 50-50. Right now I'm about a third of the production. So I mean, you guys can do the math, and that's mostly listings. There's been like a couple buyer deals here and there, but so we're close to 50-50, but I would actually prefer it to be 50-50 with like 4 listing agents, and then we generate another 1 or 2 transactions from every listing we take, no matter what, because we have mega open houses and seller attraction open house. Like, I mean, there's ways to daisy chain those deals by taking a listing, and that's what we're trying to leverage right now.
Do you think more people, with technology like that, right, like being able to access a house with a buyer agent, do you think more of these companies, whether they're traditional or a new company, are going to be doing on both sides of the transaction over the next 5 years? Do you think you're going to see more of that? Because it's easier for someone to access. If someone's set up right, whether they're a brokerage or whatever, and they're able to schedule quick showings, and then they like the property, okay, well, I'm just going to buy it. Do you think you'll see more agents on both sides of the deal in the future?
I'm clear you will, because the listing agents attract the buyers, because people see who's listing and they're like, okay, what do you have coming up? Like, they want to get in that conversation with them. What I would also say is that there's a couple underutilized features right now. Coming soon listings on Zillow. If you're not doing that for your sellers, like, that is not a smart move, because
tell me about that.
So you have to pay your premier agent on Zillow.
Yeah.
It costs a couple $100 a month just to be a premier agent. Not the advertising, but I'm talking getting like your profile upgraded and have those features, right?
Yep.
So who wouldn't want a pre-marketing campaign when inventory is at its lowest levels ever, at least in our market? I know most markets. Why wouldn't you want people finding out beforehand instead of having to react to something popping up on the MLS?
So you're taking a listing, you're going coming soon on Zillow for what, a week?
It depends how soon they want to start showings, but I mean, I prefer to do it like a week to 2 weeks, so people know when it's coming on the market. They can drive by, they can do their due diligence. You're going to weed through a lot of people, and the most serious people are going to be the ones that come in. But these are big decisions, so why wouldn't you want some time to make it? A lot of buyers, they feel pressured, and they have like a half hour to make a decision because there's an offer deadline or whatever it is. So to me... Now,
if the right offer comes along in the coming soon time period, are you taking it?
That's up to the seller.
Up to the seller.
That's not my call.
Yeah.
But we don't start showing it until when we're going to start showings.
Got it.
I mean, that's, again, this is up to the seller at the end of the day.
You're mostly building out, okay, where's our interest level? Are we at the right price because we're getting a lot of interest?
Well, you double down, like you so you week or two pre-marketing, double down with a mega open house that weekend, start showings on a Friday, don't look at offers till Monday. That gives everyone a chance to get there. That's going to generate the best result for the seller versus, oh, this home's on the market, I better go run over there right away. And that's how so many agents operate, because they don't understand that there's value in this. A lot of agents complain about coming. I mean, you've heard this,
yeah,
right? Oh, this should be why? It's better for the customer.
Here's a question I'm asking a lot of people, even out here. What do you think the commission rate, the average commission rate, is going to be in 2025? Same, higher, lower?
What side of the transaction?
Just the overall transaction, right? Like the average commission rate. What's the average commission in your market?
So the average is between 5 and 6.
Okay. Higher or lower in 2025, or the same?
All right. So 2025. Let's reverse engineer this. So we're
7
like
years.
7 years.
So we're probably going to
back in like the beginnings of a good market cycle, I would say.
Could be.
Or the end of a bad market.
Yep.
So we're at that point. That's when the fees go up, because you really need someone that knows what they're doing.
Go up meaning they've come down in a bad market and now they're going back up to where they are today? Or do you think we're getting to a place where, because I do think some of these features eat into what the agent does. Maybe you're not always showing every single property because you have an Opendoor feature. So if you're eating into some of these features, does that eat into a percentage of the commission rate ultimately in the end?
So my feel on this may be a little different, but I come from a real estate family, and for the most part, the fees have stabilizers, ups and downs as the market fluctuates. So by then, I don't know that we're going to see a big difference. What I foresee is that people are going to be more selective with their agent they pay that fee to, because if you hire some knucklehead that just got their license, maybe they're not worth as much as the 20-year vet who's survived 3 down markets and knows how to navigate this.
Okay.
It's like kind of like a law firm. You can always get the cheap law firm. But you want the good representation, you pay for it. Yeah,
100%. That's a really good point. So when the market comes back, let's play it out. Let's say that in 2025, we've seen a market that's recessed a little bit, and we're coming back up. Do you think? I know where you think the commissions are going to be up. Do you think there's going to be what always happens, more agents coming back into the market, or do you think technology is going to replace that? We know agents are going to get wiped out. Do you think they actually come back on the next upswing? Like they always do. Like right now, everybody's in real estate school in Connecticut. People are hitting us up all the time. I'm in real estate school. I'm in real estate school. Do you think that happens again, or do you think technology replaces that and those new agents don't come in?
So, there's people out there right now developing technology to replace agents. There's no question. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they're coming from, but it's out there. That's very clearly what's going on. Where I see agents having a place in this is the advice and the counsel that you get, just like you do from your financial advisor. Yeah, there's E-Trade. There's those companies out there, but you want the good advice? Like, you need to get really educated on that. So for the consumer that wants to educate and do that themselves, yeah, they're probably not using an agent.
But wouldn't that lean more towards, okay, if I'm at a certain price point, right? Like your everyday investor is going to use E-Trade or those types of things. Like maybe your lower price points are like, I just want the really easy route. But my luxury client, certainly I'm going to hire the best law firm. I'm going to hire a financial planner. So kind of what I'm hearing is maybe it's just going to be the luxury buyers and sellers.
I don't know that I would agree with that. Agents are going to have a place. The question is, what's the place going to be? And yeah, it's going to be more automated. Everything's getting more automated right now. I have a dry cleaner now, right? This is a great example. He texts me every Friday, do you have a pickup or not? I don't have to go in there. I don't have to show up.
He's picking up?
Dude,
my dry cleaner.
How do you not have the pickup, man?
We're in a very little New England town. It's very old school. There's none of that happening.
10-year-old house, man. My Philadelphia is not like an old school, like a new school place.
You got a lot of human beings in your town.
Fair enough. Fifth largest metro market.
Yeah.
Technology is going to replace things. The agents who know what they're doing will find a way to prove the value. But it's like there's an 87% failure rate in real estate, so that's not going to change. There's going to be a way where it's going to be easier for buyers to look at homes. There's no question about that. Buyers agents right now, it's hard work being an agent on the buy side. It's not a high skill level being on the buy side.
Your 10-person team, are you putting in place ways for people to automatically schedule a house and go see it on their time?
We're working on that right now.
You are.
And what we're also working on is how to get every agent on our team to be a dominant listing agent so they have better skills than other people in the marketplace so they can provide value.
I really, really like that, because a lot of people are like, okay, you're just gonna be a buyer agent forever type of thing.
That sucks.
No, I agree. I agree with you.
Let me tell you something. If someone said that to me when I was 22 years old, I would have turned around and walked out. That's just not going to happen. But that's maybe the difference between you and me and some other people out there.
So if you're a brand new agent and you're listening to this, what's the one thing you need to do?
One thing. So there's a lot of things. The one thing I would say is find a place where there's room for growth, but you got to work your ass off to grow.
Meaning join a team.
I don't know how a lot of these people are still in business that are individual practitioners right now, because I see what their clients go through, and they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars purchasing a home, and they don't get any good advice. they fall into it. I mean, there's a lot of good independent agents out there, but if you're talking about scale, I don't know joining a team is the right answer, but find a place where you can grow, work your ass off, and deliver value, because you got to have a game plan. Just like I told you what our vision is, you got to have your own vision. Like, where do you want to be in 5 or 10 years?
All right, last question, then we'll tie this thing up. If you could change one thing, you had a magic wand, change one thing in our industry. So maybe it's NAR, maybe it's the fact that you only go to school. I don't know what it is in Philadelphia and Connecticut. It's like 60 hours. It's 60 hours for us too. What would that one thing be that, take a magic wand, change in our industry?
Better professional standards. No question about it. Some of these people don't know what to do, how to present something.
How do you do that? Do you do that through jacking up the hours? Do you do that like...
I don't know that you jack up the hours.
Or do you say, okay, you can't hold your license if you're not doing, I don't know, 12, if you're not doing a deal a month, or if you're not doing averaging 12 deals a year or something?
I don't believe in that. I mean, that's that's something where it's...
Because you can have low professional standards and still do deals.
Maybe it's just some sort of class, like how to act like a professional. Like, that's one of the core values at our team, and if we see someone that shows up and they're not professional, and interpret that as you will, they're not going to be on the team. And this is a major purchase people make, and the consumer deserves a lot better. And some of these people, the way they act, the way they talk to their clients, you don't see attorneys doing this. You don't see doctors doing this. Why should we go down to their level? To me, it should be the other way around.
Well, you got a lot of bad attorneys out there. I mean,
you got a lot of bad attorneys, but you know
let's
what?
Be real.
You know what? They don't do business, and it's harder to become an attorney.
Yeah.
And then if you get in the right place, you can be successful. It's really easy to become a realtor, but it's hard to be successful. So some sort of professional standards. I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but I can tell you there's a lot of agents out there right now that don't even know the goddamn contract that they're filling out with their clients, what it says or what the rules are. That's a problem for the consumer. Forget about the agent. That's the consumer's problem. And I find myself educating people on our standard agreement of sale. We use the same contract every freaking time. It doesn't change.
Well, and we're going to wrap this up, but the contract side of things, a lot of it's going digital.
It is going digital, but then when something bad happens, I don't know what to do. I got to call my broker. Or I don't know what the deadlines are, and people are losing deposit money. And some of these agents, they don't know that. They just have them sign it digitally. They don't read the fucking thing at all. I mean, do you run into this? I mean, I find my...
Yeah, 100%.
And so, that's someone's money at stake, and they're making... Our average sale price is $345,000 right now. That's a third of $1,000,000, which is a lot of money to a lot of people. Even a $100,000 house, it's a lot of money. And if someone doesn't understand how, like that's the issue I have, is that I see agents not acting with their client's best interest in mind, and that really just ticks me off. And the consumer deserves better. Bottom line.
All right, last question: who's going to win the Super Bowl this year? Are your Eagles going to go back to back? I don't think they are, but what do you think?
So the statistics would say that they would not go back to back. If you look at the NFC over the past 12 years, the only back-to-back participant is the Seattle Seahawks, and they barely made it the second time.
And they lost, that devastating loss to the Patriots, right?
That great play call by Pete Carroll.
What a call that was.
What a call.
And Malcolm Butler, who didn't even play in the Super Bowl against your Eagles, made the big pick.
I got beast mode in the back, but I'm going to throw it for no reason. I heard he did that at a drive-thru. He just threw the money at someone.
Do you think if Malcolm Butler played, you guys would have won that Super Bowl?
Dude, who the hell? If Carson Wentz would have played, would they? Like, I mean, you don't know.
Carson, that's a good debate because Nick Foles was on fire. All right, so who wins? Is it the Eagles or somebody else?
So, I'm picking the fucking Birds, man. I mean, how can I not? Are you kidding me?
You are. That was a layup.
What I will say is, they have a quarterback who got them into Super Bowl contention but didn't win it himself. He's going to be playing with the chip on his shoulder, and that's my only comment for that.
All right, you're doing a little show. Where can people find you? Where can people connect with you?
Great. So check out our YouTube channel, and we have 2 shows that we run. One is for agents, so it's called Agent Hacks.
Yeah, and you're supposed to have me on Agent Hacks.
Yes, which we're working on. I mean, we're sitting here in California right now filming this podcast, or recording it, filming too. So Agent Hacks is tips for realtors that you can easily implement into your business. It's not some big lead generation system, but it's like, put this clause in the contract and it's going to buy you some more free time.
I like that.
I'd love you guys to check that out. It's stuff I've learned from actually working in the business for consumers. Tom's Take, I think we're on episode 80 or something.
Tom's Take is phenomenal if you're in that
I was inspired by Byron.
No, come on now.
No. Don't call him bullshit, man. I told you this. Like, don't act like, oh, man. So, but yeah, we're doing a lot of video.
appreciate it.
Our website's tomtoole.com, and if you are looking to buy or sell a home in the Philadelphia area, we can hook it up. And if you're not, we can put you in touch with a great agent like Byron in Connecticut. So it's all good.
Appreciate that, man. Tom Toole with an E, one of my favorite people in the industry, dude. You're the man. Thank you. Oh wait, hold on. Pause. We're coming back in.
Timeout.
Bonus round.
Chris Webber, timeout.
What, do we have a bonus question before we end this Tom Toole podcast? What do you got, Nicole? This is Nicole White chiming in. Oh, Jesus.
Sean Penn, I believe he's an actor.
All right. The podcast is over. Thank you, Tom.